what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to reshape vintage hat brims. I recently got a comment on one of my posts asking how to reshape vintage hats. I'm pretty sure they were asking about the brim. I showed a video on how to reshape the hats in general, how to give them that nice crispy shape with the no creases in them. So if you're looking for a video like that, make sure to look at my channel. I'll have it linked at the end of this video, but make sure to check that one out because that's a full comprehensive overview of the restoration process. But I did not talk about how to curve vintage hat brims. But this technique goes for all styles of hats, fitted, snapbacks, strapbacks, whatever you want. And it doesn't have to be necessarily for just vintage hats. So I'm going to show you from this hat right here. It has kind of a wonky brim. It's a little bent up on this side and it's more on the flat side. But I plan on wearing this a little bit more. So I'm going to show you firsthand how I curve this permanently, because there's many ways that you can just curve it once by bending it like that, and it's not going to stay forever. It just snaps back to that flat shape. But for the case of this hat that I'm wearing, I prefer my hats curved because that's naturally how hats tend to fit on your head. So when you tighten them accordingly to your head, the hat curves and that brim will bend. But if the brim isn't adjusted correctly, it'll look like flat out here towards the end, but then still be curved at the base right here. But by showing you how to bend the brims permanently like I am today, you're not gonna have to worry about that awkward look. It's gonna look really nice and uniform, just like the one I'm wearing. So as I mentioned, I'm gonna use this Super Bowl Sports Specialties laser hat, and the only things that you need for this are a steamer and potentially some rubber bands if you don't want to hold the brim like that. So first things first, you're going to want to fire up the steamer. I've got this big one right here that I use for all of my hat reshaping. So it has been really, really helpful. I believe I got this as a gift, but they're not super expensive if you're looking for one. And then also they're really easy to get on Amazon, just the little handheld ones that you can plug into the wall. So as that thing's warming up, I'm just going to explain the rubber bands. If you need those are going to be placed around the brim so that you don't have to hold it. I know a lot of people will do this with their hats to really get a good curve. And there are also some things out there that you can buy online that will curve the brim naturally. You kind of like put it in a plastic mold, but for the sake of not having to deal with that, the rubber band method works just as well, if not better. I mean, it's cheaper and you're saving yourself some money. So right away, this is what it looks like. If the rubber band's too tight, recommend stretching it out a little bit. Give it some flex in there. And then if it's too loose, I'd recommend grabbing another one and then also placing that around the brim just like that. So already we've got a nice uniform curve. And with this, you're not going to have to worry about the brim bending in any certain ways. A lot of people like to bend them like straight like that, in kind of a triangle, or even bend them just on the edges, which I don't really like that much. I hate it when they're bent in the middle, but I can deal with if they're just bent on the sides like that. But with the rubber band, you really don't have to worry about that because the natural curve of it, I'm not sure the physics of how a rubber band works, but it evenly distributes that bend all throughout. So now the steamer's ready to go. What you're going to want to do is hold the steamer up to the hat for about 2 minutes and get that brim kind of soft and malleable, because that's what we're looking to do. That hot water and that hot steam from the steamer is going to loosen the brim up so that you're able to make those permanent changes instead of just bending it for a one time or for 10 minutes, say, before it bends back. A quick disclaimer, if you are using a steamer, make sure to keep a safe distance from your hands and don't expose your hands too much to that steam, because you can get burns. I have done it many times to myself and it doesn't feel good. So make sure you're being careful if you are using a high-powered steamer. But now, since the hat has been steamed, it is more malleable and ready to be bent. Place them right about here on the hat. It does matter where you put it because you want it to be flat right around here. You don't want it to bend in or out, because if you place it too low, it's going to look a little funky. And as I mentioned earlier, it's going to bend more at the base and then flare at the top, which doesn't look too great in my opinion. I mean, ultimately, it's up to your liking, or too far up here and it looks too pinched from the front. So you don't want that either. So right in the middle, you're going to have to find the sweet spot for yourself and how you like it. But right there for me is the best. And you're going to want to bend it a little more than you would think, because once you take these rubber bands off and once that steam wears off and the hat dries, it's going to bend back a little bit. So err on the side of caution ultimately, but let that sit for a little bit, about a minute or two, and then your hat should be ready to go just like that. If you don't have rubber bands, instead of bending the hat like this or any weird way, make sure to interlock your fingers like that and bend it so it's uniform, or also make a heart shape. That's my preferred way. Whenever I get a hat in the mail, I always look at it. If the brim is a little awkwardly bent, I'll make that heart shape and curve it like that just to make sure it's all set. But there it is. There's the bent brim. I'll show you the before and then the after right here. So I think this one is a lot better. And in my opinion, the hats fit a lot better when that brim is bent. At least on my head, I think they feel better and look better when they're bent like this. Not a big fan of the flatter brims, but that is how it is done. Let me know below if you have any questions. I love to make videos answering the questions. And make sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this.